it's about doing big things with the people you care about most.
Mm-hmm.
And what's cooler than, investing in X, you fill in the blank, but this building wealth. And, for us personally, it was always about being together, right? Yeah. Having the freedom to do the things that, we're most passionate about.
Welcome to the Threefold Real Estate Investing Podcast. This is the podcast where you'll not only learn how you can achieve massive success in multifamily real estate investing, but also how you can simultaneously pursue great relationships with your family and a better walk with God. You can achieve financial freedom through real estate investing without sacrificing the relationships that mean the most to you. Now, here's your host, Lee Yoder.
Welcome back, Threefold listeners. Hope you're having a great week. We've got a great guest joining us today. Travis Smith is coming to us from Columbus, Ohio. So he's a Buckeye as well. So we know he's going to be good. He is the founder and CEO of Tribevest, a platform that I've become very familiar with here recently. This platform makes it easy to invest as a group and do deals together in as little as 48 hours. He started his career with Morgan Stanley, but realized the most direct path to wealth and financial freedom wasn't as an individual. The path is as a group, as a tribe. So Travis is obsessed with building a platform that standardizes, streamlines, and ultimately de-risks group investing. He won't stop until every single deal on and off the internet is an opportunity for a multiplayer experience. So can't wait to get into all this. Travis, thanks so much for joining us today.
Lee, thanks for having me. Been looking forward to having this conversation.
Yeah. So Travis, if you don't mind, could you take us all the way back to when you were working for Morgan Stanley? Maybe just a little bit of a window into what that was like, and then why the heck did you leave?
Yeah, great question. So as you mentioned, a Buckeye, and actually graduated in finance from Ohio State. Cool. And was recruited and trained by Morgan Stanley in New York City.
Wow.
And really my motivations for going into that business was to really build wealth for myself, and the idea of helping others build wealth was so appealing to me.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a personal background there is I came from a well-educated, high-achieving family, but we never seemed to turn the corner in terms of financial freedom and wealth. And again, that was I just kind of scratched my head. And so when I was choosing careers and majors, going into finance seemed to make sense. And again, ended up at Morgan Stanley, great experience. But Lee, you might know this, when it comes to helping people build wealth, that wasn't the right place. I was really selling stocks, mutual funds, different investment products. And wasn't, I don't think, helping people find that financial freedom that we all yearn for. Mm-hmm. And eventually I would say I was saved by software, went to work for a now unicorn fintech out of Cleveland, Ohio called Highland Software, was an early employee there.
Okay.
And throughout my career, stayed in fintech, eventually ended up at Jack Henry and Associates, and where I headed up their strategic alliances in their enterprise payments. And if you're not familiar, Jack Henry is a core software for a lot of the medium and small and medium-sized banks.
Okay.
And then my division took some of that technology and went to non-FIs or non-banks. And I helped them with their enterprise payments, doing electronic payments. And so that was, a little bit of my professional career there. And then I'll get into here my personal path in terms of building personal wealth with my tribe. That was happening in parallel here.
Yeah, I can see how this is building, because you were in on Wall Street, but in the stock market, in the investing world, and learning a lot about investing and seeing some shortcomings of that offering, of those products. Like you said, that it is typically how it goes. You have a certain product that you're trying to sell, and whether or not it's the best investment for people, it's kind of where you push everybody. This is the product that we sell, so this is what we're going to sell you. So in the investing, learning a lot, but maybe some shortcomings, and then getting into fintech. So seeing the financial side, the technology side, and I can see how this is growing where you definitely had the right education to build Tribevest from what I know about it already. But yeah, just kind of keep taking us through that, Travis, or maybe in the meantime, you're investing on the side. Tell us just kind of what the next phase is for you.
Right. Yeah, it definitely was uniquely positioned to build the platform that is now Tribevest with my professional career and experience. But really, the origins were my personal journey. And again, going back to this frustration with, having a W-2, but never feeling like you're building wealth or creating options. Of course, probably again, like you and many of your other listeners, ended up reading, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and some real lights turned on for me. And about, 14 years ago now, on a fishing trip, my brothers and I were talking like we always did about doing stuff together, building a business, investing, getting into real estate, which none of us had done yet. And here we were, I was late 20s, early 30s. My older brother was in his mid 30s. And we were still just so dependent on our W-2s. Mm-hmm. And that scared us. It scared us. If you kind of do the math, that was during the Great Recession. Sure. People were getting laid off. And so on this fishing trip, we said, listen, it's hard to break into private investing, real estate, because there's a barrier of entry, right? Yep. There's capital that you need that we didn't have. We had good incomes, but we didn't have lump sums of money sitting around. Right. Yep. And then there's that confidence barrier, the know-how barrier. No one had taught us this stuff. Even, taking finance in college, none of it was around how to do real estate. Sure. And so together we started to pool capital a little bit at a time, $500 each a month. That was $2,000 a month and $24,000 a year. And throughout that year, we just started to kind of look out there at the market, looking for deals, talking about deals. And then finally, we got to a certain point where we had enough capital. We found a deal that we were really excited about, and we did our first deal. And that was huge. And now we look back at it and we've built a significant portfolio that changed our lives. And I think that's what we realized was by forming and funding that investor tribe, that investor group, we unlocked a future that none of us could have dreamed of. None of us could have done on our own or would have done on our own. So that was when we knew we had something special and we wanted to share it with the rest of the world.
Yeah, man. Great story, Travis. And I can totally relate to that. And I feel like I'm always telling people that because the hardest thing is to get started. To me, it's really hard to get started. And for those two reasons, capital, whether you want to be active or passive, certainly if you want to be passive, actually, you definitely need the capital if you want to be passive. If you want to be active, you could get creative, but you got to have a lot of time for that. And then, the confidence, the experience, the knowledge. You have no experience because you're getting started, right? Like you haven't done anything. So you don't have the experience. You haven't built the confidence yet. So you're absolutely right. So I can see how joining a group, bringing people together helps accomplish both those things. And it helps you get started so much earlier or get started at all. Because if you don't have those things, you may never get started. And then, hey, you're already in your late 20s or mid 30s, but there's people in their late 50s, mid 60s going, man, I wish I would have get started. So I love that because I'm, just always preaching that. And it's part of the passion behind the podcast that I'm doing is to tell people about it so they can get started earlier rather than later. And I think, your point of doing it as a group, as a tribe, man, it can really help you get started quicker.
You nailed it, Lee. I mean, you think about the money, the capital that's required, the know-how or confidence. And that's probably the biggest holdup for most people. A lot of people have the money. Yep. Some people have the time. But that confidence and, to get over that threshold to be able to do it, because, until you do it, you're not going to learn it. Right. And that's the other cool thing about real estate is it's a journey. It's a journey. So you're not going to read about it. You're not going to read a blog about it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be those things that just inform you, but eventually you have to take that step. And I like to compare it to like, making a pact with some buddies to work out or something.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. And that's easy to say, but if no one's holding me accountable, I may or may not go.
Yep.
But Lee, if I'm going to meet you at the gym, and I tell you I'm going to meet you at the gym, right? I'll be there. I'll be there ready to rock. So that discipline was so key for us, right? We had busy lives, families, careers, all these things that we were managing. So to find time to break into real estate was really hard.
Yeah. One other thing, Travis, because I started out really doing it by myself on the active front and just desperately wanted a partner. And it's because it is more fun doing it with other people too. Right. Like you said, it gives you the confidence, but you get to talk to somebody about it. It's a lot of fun when you get to do it with other people too.
No doubt. I mean, what's cooler than building wealth and investing, right? And just like anything, like I know when I would go on these business trips to these beautiful places and stay in these hotels and, looking out over the ocean, only to be by myself, wishing my wife or, someone I knew was there with me to kind of enjoy it. That's the same thing. It's we get so much more fulfillment in these things when we're doing it with others that we know, like, and trust and care about most.
Oh, for sure. Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
So Travis, I feel like we've done an awesome job making a case for someone to build a company that allows this all to happen. Right. So to lay it up there for you, can you tell us about the genesis of Tribevest?
We of course, 12, 14 years ago, we weren't thinking about building Tribevest. We were just trying to solve a problem, our own problem. And over time, people started to notice how we were getting into deals. And I'll tell you, we were first very motivated by real estate, but then it really became this like, man, what else can we learn to do? What else can we learn to do? And we ended up doing passive investing, active investing, investing in different businesses and venture capital, startups. And because part of our mission was to have fun. And it was an excuse for my brothers and I to get together. And to this day, it's still our favorite thing to do in the whole world. But we ended up taking a chance, and this is not an investment for those listeners out there, but we bought a racehorse, and we caught lightning in a bottle, and ended up being one of the top earning race horses, that year, named Smaverless. And so people started to notice, like, what are you guys doing? How are you guys doing this? And then people started to say, wait a minute, I have friends and family that we are financially aligned. We have shared goals. Can you help us form an investor group too? And that was
Travis,
really
just pause real quick. Can you tell us, just to set this up, how were you guys doing this before Tribevest? Just forming an LLC together? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, great question. So, when people started asking us, would we do this? And we started thinking about, did we want to build a platform here? And the question was, what would we do differently? Right, Lee? And the answer was everything. Like we did everything wrong, like most people, right? Yeah. I think like no one knows exactly where to go. Of course, if you have deep pockets or belong to a country club or whatever it is, maybe you navigate this and, with plenty of money and resources and advisors. But, for us trying to be scrappy and, just find a way, that was hard. And so did we need to file an LLC? Where should we file that LLC? Do we need an attorney for an operating agreement, or can we do that on our own? What about opening up a business bank account with a LLC with, no history or anything? All these things, like, we hit hurdle after hurdle and barrier after barrier and pitfall after pitfall. But, I think it says a lot about our determination, but we figured it out. Mm-hmm. And so when we started to think about Tribevest, we kind of realized, like, man, any one of those things on their own, not difficult, but when you start to add up what it looks like to set something like this up the right way,
Right.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work and it's expensive. And so to answer your questions, the origin, the first customer came to us and said, "Hey, I actually have this group of dads. I think want to, invest." In fact, they all met at each other's kids' preschool,
That's
and
neat.
they were friends. Their families hung out. The dads kind of started to hang out, almost forming a social club called the Old Dogs. And then this guy Kevin came to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to pitch this at a card night, right? Like we're going to play cards, we're playing poker, and I think 4 or 5 of the 16 will want to do this." And I said, "Great, if you do it, we'll get on the phone." And really, the first product was kind of this consultative approach.
Okay.
And of course, he goes to poker night, talks about Tribevesting, and all 16 raise their hand. So anyway, I don't know if it was the first best customer or the worst customer, but it was great because it certainly validated everything that we were thinking about. And then that was our first customer. That customer turned into 2, turned into 5, turned into 10, turned into 20, brought on my partner, CTO, Zach Bowers, built out an incredible platform with the banking infrastructure, capital, entity formation, cap table, dashboard, voting, document. I mean, everything you need to manage, we've built. And now, we've had over 1,000 tribes launch on our platform, and we're growing like crazy. So
that's so cool.
Really
I love that your first customer, Travis, and I can totally relate just because I wrote a free ebook that's on our website called 5 Steps to Passive Income for the Full-Time Dad. And that's what we're after. That's my partner and I, dads. And that's like, as far as what we feel God calling us to, that's like, up there at the top of the priority list. And we see investing as a way for dads to provide really well for their family. So I love that story. Going back to, you and your brothers and being in these investments, I can imagine there was tons of paperwork and like just this organizational mess. And I'm just saying that because for me, even when I was getting in and thinking about, building this portfolio, I had small stuff. I had a duplex and I got a 16, you got a small. And I'm like, man, this is why guys go bigger faster, because there's a different bank account for every property. There's a different, operating agreement for every property. Like there's so much paperwork. And I thought, if I want to get to 1,000 units, I sure as heck don't want it to be in 100 buildings. I want it to be in 10 buildings. And it was just paperwork and organizing everything. So I'm just imagining you guys going through this, and you own a racehorse, you're invested in companies, you got real estate, and like just the organization. So I'm drooling over probably what Tribevest has to offer just as far as that. So was that part of the journey? You said you guys did everything wrong. Was it kind of like, oh my gosh, this is getting to be a mess, we need something to house all of this stuff and help us organize it all?
100%, Lee. And you nailed it. Like just getting off the ground was kind of where I was lamenting there for a minute, right? And just how hard it is to get a group off the ground, set it up right, make sure everybody's protected, so we streamlined all that. But, so much of the value is this shared dashboard, right?
Right.
Shared dashboard, place for all your documents, all your records. We're managing the cap table within the tribe, within the LLC, the multi-membered LLC. Within minutes of getting the LLC back from the Secretary of State, we've opened up a business bank account, FDIC insured business bank account. So, all those things are right there. And now when you're doing, 2, 3, 4 deals with 2, 3, 4, 5 different tribes, you can have it all on one personal dashboard, easily click into each tribe, see where you're at. But yeah, I know that feeling. And that was the biggest pain, right? I think anytime you're doing something in the group, it's not lack of trust. It's just the mystery. Yeah. It's like, I haven't heard anything, or I haven't seen anything, or where was that document? And that's when,
or who was supposed to do
start
that?
To get a little bit like, what's going on? And with Tribevest, you just log in and you just see it. That technology is transparent is what we.
I love it. So Travis, maybe just tell us, like, who is Tribevesting most fit for? Like, I mean, you're kind of making it pretty obvious with some of these groups that have been interested in it. I mean, just you and your brothers and then this group of dads, but maybe just talk to us about like what population of people are you seeing benefit the most? And And then maybe lay it out like, okay, these are the type of people that are benefiting. So let's say 4 of them come together. What does it actually look like? Maybe just take us through the step-by-step process of getting on and tell us the website real quick. But then, tell us who it is and how they go about actually getting on and doing it.
Yeah, it's tribevest.com.
Okay, I thought so.
So definitely check it out, tribevest.com. We're lucky to have that URL.
Yeah.
And
makes it simple.
And so, you ask who this is for. It's for the same people you wrote that
ebook
for,
yeah.
Right? Yep. But it's people like my brothers and I that are, it's about, we say that's tribe driven. That's a tribe driven tribe. It's like pull capital and let's figure this out together. Right.
Yep.
And we continue to do that to this day. It's our favorite thing. And then there's, deal driven tribes. So people that have found deals and want to bring in people with them. And that's, that's a great fit for people that are passive investing into real estate syndication.
Yes,
right? There's certain thresholds that you need to get over. It could be, 100,000, it could be 250,000. We've seen deals or even higher, but, usually a minimum of 25K. And, those are hard checks to write. Right.
Sure.
So if you team up with 4 other people, you're not writing a $25,000 check every time. You're writing a $5,000 check, and you're not just getting into one deal, you're getting into 5. Yeah. And I think that's so many people, like we talked a little bit about left field investing and just an awesome community of investors that are passionate about investing into different sponsors and syndicates. And they don't want to say no to good deals. Right. And so this, by forming their tribe, they can say yes to 5, 6, 10 different deals where maybe they did 1 or 2 on their own. So that's a great, that's a great use case for us. And then there's the pro driven, right? The pro driven is, that hustler that's out there and, doing doing short-term rentals. Vacation homes are great ones for us. Yeah. And they're having success on their own. And everybody around them is like saying, hey, let me in on those next deals that you do. And so they're forming tribes to accelerate their business. They're forming tribes to, bring people along that they care about and enjoy that journey with.
Yeah. And so Travis, the basic premises, are you basically forming an LLC for this group of people and then creating a bank account? So, because just for us, we've had, I know, in one of our syndications that we've done, we had 2 brothers and then a buddy of theirs. They formed an LLC and invested together. So they have a tribe, but they're handling it all and the paperwork. And you've done that too, but Tribevest probably makes it a little bit easier for those guys. And then we have a dad and a daughter. I think whether they formed an LLC or not, or they're just kind of doing it on their own, they kind of, formed their little tribe and got in. Is that basically what you're doing is now, through the website, through tribevest.com, they can get on. You guys help take care of forming the LLC for them, open the bank account for them, and then track everything. Is that really what it is in essence? Yeah.
Okay. We're really quick to point out, we didn't invent group investing, right? Sure. Yeah. But what we did do was we streamlined it, made it super accessible and de-risked it, right? Like we de-risked group investing. And so you think about it now, people that you saw form tribes to invest in maybe your deal, which we see all the time, they could have used Tribevest and their experience would have been, this for, again, you got to put it for $29 a month. Okay. Right? That's what it is. Yep. And you do, like, the only thing we don't cover is the state filing fee, but everything else is built into that $29 a month. Wow. So you think about just how affordable and accessible it is. And then, the founder joins, as we call them. They invite their members. They get welcomed by an onboarding specialist, and they go through a certain configuring of their operating agreement. How do they want to make decisions? How do they want to track things? And again, within 2 days, you have your entity, you have your business bank account. You've agreed to how much capital is coming in. We make that easy. You link your bank account or you wire it in. We track all those capital contributions. So you have your ownership table, and then the group can easily, wire out,
into a syndication or something.
ACH,
Okay.
however they want to transact. So yeah, those are great use cases. And I think the difference would have been, if you went back and asked those people that you talked about forming their own tribe, how much it cost them, how long did it take, all those things, they'd probably be embarrassed to tell you the truth of like, it took a lot of time and they spent a lot of money to just form that simple LLC.
Well, and I think, Travis, it fits even more with people that want to kind of keep doing this again and again, really want to build. And like you say, want to get in on multiple deals. I mean, if you're going to do it one off, maybe you just do an LLC, but once you get a taste for that and you go, man, let's do this a bunch of times, like you and your brothers did, like, let's keep doing this, then it's really going to make a lot of sense to do the $30 a month, to keep it going, keep investing in more and more deals. You mentioned before the cap table. Can you explain that a little bit, Travis? I don't know if everybody knows what that is.
Yeah. So, it's about keeping track. So you mentioned all the records and all that stuff. So, if there's 5 of us and I'm putting in 10K, you're putting in 30K, and someone else is putting in 100K, right? Like, well, our system makes that really easy to make that capital contribution, number one. And then number two, we're tracking it. So, in that case, I would only own, now didn't do the math, 7%.
Yeah.
You would own, 15, 16%, and our buddy would own the rest. Right. And being able to manage that in a way, and then, cash flow coming in, right?
Yep.
Any cash flow coming in, any deals that have exited or whatever it is, you have that proportions managed in the system really easy.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. No, I know people that use this, Travis, and really love the service because they really, just like your story with your brothers, they really enjoy investing with others. And it does take time to find good deals. So if you come together with a group, if there's 4 or 5 of you, likely at any given time, at least a few times a year, somebody's probably going to be finding a pretty good deal and underwrite that deal and really evaluate that deal and decide, and then come to the other 4 guys or girls and say, hey, what do you think? I think this is a good deal. Yep. Wow. Thanks for bringing it to us. And you just got this great opportunity brought to you by somebody in your group. And now you can all put in your little bit of money and get in on that great deal. And like you mentioned, Travis, we don't do this yet. We're just kind of not to this point yet in our evolution, but a lot of syndication, a lot of deals you want to get in, you do get a better preferred return, better equity split the more you invest. So you can truly make more money, get a better return on your investment by pulling it together with others, because you're not investing any more than you would have, but you're getting a better return because you're investing as a group.
An awesome use case, Lee. Yeah. 100%. We see that all the time.
Yeah, we do too. I mean, I look at a lot of deals and I'm not quite there yet, but just look at it as passive investors. And yeah, it's like, if you invest 50,000 or less, you get, this return. But if you're 250,000 or more, I mean, you're getting a higher preferred return, higher equity split. So, I mean, those things can make a big difference in your, an investing career. What are you working on now that you're most excited about?
We're actually rolling out our mobile app, which we consider our community layer, right? And we're going to start to build, these different networks within our platform. And, really there was not much value unless you came and had a tribe and, formed an entity and, you were managing your tribe on our platform. That's what we do, right? Like that's our utility. And now with this community, people are going to be able to join, people that are curious about collaborative investing, people that are like we've talked about, that are in that first 5 years of their true wealth building. Maybe they haven't had enough confidence yet to do their first deal. They can now join Tribevest and, potentially join the Threefold community, for example, because there's a group, a network of people there. Okay. So that's on the horizon.
I'm really excited. I've not, full disclosure, not done Tribevest yet, learning more and more about it. And I'm very active and very much in like the wealth building phase to where I get to a point, hopefully pretty soon where I have some extra that I like, then I want to go be passive, and I want to be passive in a mobile home park because I only do apartments. But go be passive in a self-storage facility. I don't think maybe I'll buy a racehorse someday and like you guys did, but that'd be fun. And then when I think about that, Travis, I've got some real, I mean, even my business partner, I could see us doing that together, or family members doing that together, and probably me kind of taking the lead on that, but pulling some capital, and it would just be fun. Like you said, you and your brothers really have fun with it. That sounds really fun to me. Man, I mean, I would love to buy an Airbnb in a place we like to vacation, and doing that with others. Man, just so
that was
many
a big
benefits.
motivator for my brothers and I.
Was it? Yeah.
We grew up. The first time I saw Tribe investing, I didn't know it. It was my dad and his sisters bought this little beach cottage, and every year my cousins and aunts and uncles would like ascend on this little cottage, and we'd squeeze in this house for 2 weeks and just became so close. And then they had to sell it. Right. And I wasn't in a position to buy it. And that was like one of the big pain points of like, wait a minute, I thought I was doing pretty good out there in life, but I can't even afford to buy this important property that should be in our family. That's a awesome application. You know, people coming together, buying an Airbnb, and now it's a great investment, you know, with the technology and Airbnb out there, you can cash flow and have a place, you know, for your friends and family to
doesn't have to sit empty for everything but 2 weeks out of the year. Yeah. You can
exactly.
Well, let's build on that a little bit, Travis. I'd love to just hear a little bit more about your story, just as a general application of what investing with a tribe can do for you. Tell me a little bit more about, you know, through the process, what this has meant for your family, and how, you know, just kind of investing in general, but maybe specifically investing with a tribe, with your brothers, what it's meant for your family.
I think that's really it. And that's why we're so passionate. It's about doing big things with the people you care about most. Mm-hmm. And what's cooler than, you know, investing in X, you know, fill in the blank, but this building wealth. And, you know, for us personally, it was always about being together, right? Having the freedom to do the things that, you know, we're most passionate about. And so, you know, before we used to look at it as like, okay, we're all going individually, and hopefully we all get to this threshold someday where we can hang out, right? And you know, be in a position financially to spend that quality time together, or whatever it is, go on that trip. Mm-hmm. And what we did is we just shortcut that. Like, it wasn't a destination out in the future. It was, let's journey together. Yeah. And again, to this day, we're still putting in $500 a month, and you know, doing deals, and it's our favorite thing to do in the whole world. And now my personal motivation is to show my sons, who are 14 and 10, you know, that anything's possible. Yeah. Right. And we're out there to change the world. We're passionate. You know, there's something spiritual to what we're doing. And, you know, so that's what it's done for us.
That's awesome.
And I think, you know, and we see that, like when we changed our lives, and then with our first customer, we changed 16 other people's lives. Yeah. And now we're changing other people's lives at scale. And what a blessing that is.
Oh, man. So if people go to tribevest.com, Travis, is there something on there where they can go and find out more about it?
Yeah, we're actually working on that a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, on the website, there is lots of resources. And then, you know, you could actually call one of our onboarding specialists and get a demo if you want.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
that's what I meant,
there's different places to schedule those throughout the journey. Actually, what you do is you come in and you register, and then you build a plan. So you name your tribe, you put a mission, your goals, you know, all these details, and then you actually have a plan that you can share with your tribe. And that's just a great way to kind of get a feel for, you know, what this is. And then on that plan page, you can schedule a meeting with one of our onboarding specialists.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Travis, I always ask the same question, everybody. Maybe you'll answer a little bit differently in light of Tribevest, maybe not. But what would you say is a key ingredient for being a successful real estate investor or just successful investor?
I can only speak from my personal experience. And one, we hit on it. The most important step is the first one, right? You have to commit. You have to make that first move. And then you're in, like you're in the game. And then it's all about building on that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think people that come from, Wall Street or other types of investment, it's about buying low and selling high. And it's a transaction where, the best thing about real estate is you get options, right? But it's not as simple. It's not just a transaction. So, the only way you can kind of understand why it's such an awesome asset class is once you get in, you can flip it, you can rent it, you can short-term rental it, you can, borrow against it, you can leverage it, you can live in it. There's like all these things. So, that's first thing. And then for me, I couldn't even have taken my own advice if it wasn't for my tribe. Find those that are out there leveling up together and level up together. Build confidence and build wealth with your tribe. That's what we say.
Yeah, I love that. Well, hey, let me put a little spin on that question. So what's a key ingredient for, while being a successful real estate investor or successful investor, maintaining your priorities, specifically maybe faith and family, and having success, and the things that really matter more while you're being a successful investor?
Yeah, for me, it's those things that come first, right? My faith in God and my family, that's what drives me, right? And I kind of touched on that before. It's you get those things in order and have a good grasp on those things. The other stuff comes easy, and hard decisions become simple. And people ask me, how could you be doing this startup? And I can only imagine how hard it is and how much work it is. But it's just so simple for me. It's right where I'm supposed to be. Yeah. And to have that clarity is really the only way, I think, to be able to achieve big things. And so that's how I look at it.
Travis, again, I'll let you take this wherever you want, but I always ask for a book recommendation. Maybe just some investing or what have you read lately? What would you say for a book recommendation?
This one might be a little off the wall for
that's fine.
Your audience, but like I think there's so many life lessons in it. It's called The Lean Startup.
Okay.
The Lean Startup, and it's famous and kind of the book for Silicon Valley startups. So it comes from a software background, a startup software background, but it's all about an MVP, right? This minimal viable product, and getting that out there as soon as possible and as fast as possible. It needs to be minimal and it needs to be viable, and not worried about building this big, beautiful thing or, having the whole business figured out. It's just about taking that first minimal viable step and then building on that. And they talk about build, measure, learn.
Well, this is great, Travis. I've been looking forward to having you on. I've been, through Left Field Investors, a group of passive investors. It's started by a guy, Jim Pfeiffer out of Columbus. I've been getting to know Tribevest more and more because, that group has really bought into it because so many guys that are a part of that group have benefited from Tribevest. So love what you guys are doing over there. We'll be happy to put the links in our show notes and send people towards you so they can learn more about it. Before I let you go, I'd love to ask how my listeners and I be praying for you in the coming weeks.
I guess if there's anything, it would be for my father, who's not doing really well right now.
Yeah,
I haven't seen him in 2 years, and I'm trying really hard to get out to LA to see him, and but I just know our family would really appreciate any prayers coming our way.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'd be happy to pray for that with you, Travis. I hope there's a recovery, and I hope that, there's some good time spent, with you and him, as soon as possible. That's tough. we'll be praying for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Travis, thanks so much for your time. This has been really helpful. You've got a great product. I mean, what we do with syndication is, pulling investors together. It's very different, but I mean, I obviously believe in the concept of group investing. I think it's awesome because I think everybody should be invested in real estate personally. But not everybody has a bunch of capital to do it. So Tribevest makes that, kind of gets rid of that excuse, and everybody can get in and get in much quicker. And that's, what we're talking about. The sooner the better, because it gives you more time to build that wealth. So thanks again, man. This has been really great.
Lee, enjoyed it. And thanks again.
Thank you for joining us for another great episode. I hope you'll take action on what you've learned today. If you enjoyed today's show, please consider leaving Lee a 5-star rating and review. And check him out on threefoldrei.com. Until next time, 1 Timothy 6:17.